Welcome to the Executive Read, a special segment of the India HR Dialogue podcast, where we dig into some really insightful books and resources to help you stay ahead in the business world.
Yeah.
And today we're going on a deep dive into an often overlooked realm of communication. The fascinating world of body language.
Fascinating indeed.
Our guide for this deep dive is the book Body Language in Business: Decoding the Signals.
Okay.
But before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes.
Right.
Where we unpack more essential business insights.
Yes, definitely.
So it's great to be here.
It's great to have you. You know, in the corporate world, we often put so much emphasis on verbal communication,
Right.
presentations, the negotiations,
Yeah.
the emails. But what we miss is this really subtle but powerful language of body language.
That's right. It's like this whole secret code.
Yeah.
And everyone's speaking.
Right.
But we don't always know how to decipher it. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is body language?
Oh, yeah.
And why is it so important in a business context?
Well, body language is essentially nonverbal communication
Okay.
through physical behaviors like posture gestures, facial expressions, and even the use of space.
Okay.
And it's fascinating because it's often an unconscious reflection of our true thoughts and feelings,
Oh, wow.
even when our words might be saying something different.
Right.
And in the business world, this can be incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
Imagine you're in a high-stakes negotiation.
Okay.
Being able to read your counterpart's body language can give you insights into their level of confidence,
Oh, really?
their willingness to concede, or even potential areas of disagreement.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's like having this extra layer of information
Right.
to help you kind of navigate those really critical interactions.
Absolutely.
Now, I've heard this statistic that 93% of communication is nonverbal.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any truth to that?
That infamous 93% myth.
Okay. It's a common misconception. Okay. Stems from a misinterpretation of some research. Okay. While nonverbal cues play a crucial role, especially when words and body language are incongruent,
Yeah.
they don't completely overshadow verbal communication.
Okay.
It's more about understanding how these two elements interact
Right.
and influence each other.
Okay, so it's about kind of seeing the whole picture,
Right.
not just focusing on one aspect.
Exactly.
So how do we start decoding this nonverbal alphabet?
Okay.
What are some of the key signals we should be paying attention to?
Well, let's start with eye contact.
Okay.
Often considered the most powerful form of nonverbal communication.
Interesting.
Maintaining appropriate eye contact conveys
Right.
interest,
Uh-huh.
attentiveness, and even builds trust.
Right.
But it's not just about the amount of eye contact.
Right.
It's also about the quality.
What do you mean by the quality?
Well, think about it. A fleeting glance
Yeah.
might signal disinterest or distraction.
Yeah. While sustained eye contact can be perceived as aggressive or intimidating,
Okay.
the key is finding that sweet spot. Engaging eye contact that shows you're present and attentive
Right.
without making the other person uncomfortable.
Okay.
And here's a fascinating tidbit.
Okay.
Pupil dilation.
Pupil dilation. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's subtle, often unconscious signal
Uh-huh.
that can reveal a lot about a person's emotional state.
Really?
For example, dilated pupils can indicate interest
Okay.
or excitement, while constricted pupils might suggest disinterest
Uh-huh.
or even hostility.
That's incredible. I'm starting to see how much information
Right.
we're transmitting through our eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember, the interpretation of eye contact can also be influenced by cultural norms.
Oh,
So it's crucial to be mindful of those differences.
Okay, so we've got eye contact.
Yeah.
What about facial expressions?
Yeah.
Are they universal or do they vary across cultures?
Well, while some facial expressions like those conveying surprise
Right.
or disgust seem to be universally understood,
Yeah.
others can vary significantly across cultures.
Okay.
For example, a smile,
Right.
often perceived as a positive signal in Western cultures,
Uh-huh.
might have different connotations in other parts of the world.
So it's not as straightforward as just assuming everyone interprets a smile
Right.
the same way.
Precisely. And even within the same culture, a smile can be genuine or forced, conveying a whole range of emotions.
Yeah.
Being able to distinguish between a genuine smile, one that reaches the eyes, and a more superficial one can be invaluable in a business setting.
So it's like being a human lie detector.
Well, not quite,
Okay.
but it definitely adds a layer of insight.
Right.
Now let's move on to gestures,
Okay.
which can be incredibly revealing.
Okay.
A simple hand gesture can convey confidence anxiety or even suggest deception.
Okay, so like the classic steeple gesture,
Right.
where someone brings their fingertips together. Is that a sign of confidence?
It can be. The steeple gesture, along with other gestures like open palms, can often indicate confidence and authority.
Okay.
On the other hand, fidgeting, tapping, or touching the face can suggest nervousness or discomfort.
Right.
And while there's no foolproof lie detector gesture,
Yeah, okay.
certain hand-to-face movements, particularly those that seem to shield the mouth
Yeah.
or eyes, can sometimes signal discomfort or potential deception.
Interesting. So it's not just about what we do with our hands, but also where we put them.
Exactly. And then there's posture,
Right.
which can be a powerful indicator of confidence engagement and even power dynamics.
Okay.
Standing or sitting tall with an open posture
Yeah.
conveys confidence and approachability,
Uh-huh.
while slouching or crossing your arms might suggest disinterest or defensiveness.
This is all so insightful.
Yeah.
It's like a whole new world is opening up.
I know, right?
And we've only just scratched the surface.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore
Absolutely.
in this fascinating realm of body language.
It's a whole universe out there.
But before we dive deeper,
Okay.
I know our listeners are probably as intrigued by this book as I am.
Uh-huh.
And if you're ready to decode the secrets of nonverbal communication
Yes.
and gain that competitive edge in the business world,
Absolutely.
we have a link in the description where you can get your copy of Body Language in Business,
Yeah.
Decoding the Signals.
Yeah, it's a great resource. Welcome back to the Executive Read.
We've been uncovering the hidden language of body language,
Right.
exploring how these subtle cues can reveal so much information about people's thoughts, feelings, and even intentions.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating to consider how these nonverbal signals
Yeah.
can influence our perceptions
Right.
and even shape our memories.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And speaking of perceptions, let's talk about first impressions.
Okay.
They say you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Right.
But is there any truth to that?
Absolutely. Research shows
Right.
that we form surprisingly accurate judgments about others based on just a few seconds of observation.
Really?
It's called thin slices of behavior.
So it's like our brains are making these lightning fast assessments
Right.
without us even realizing it.
Exactly. We subconsciously pick up on these subtle cues, like posture, facial expressions,
Yeah?
even the way someone walks.
Okay.
And these cues inform our initial impressions.
That's both fascinating and a little intimidating.
I know, right?
So knowing this, how can we use this knowledge to our advantage, especially in a business context?
Let's consider a common scenario, like a job interview.
Okay.
You can leverage this understanding of thin slices of behavior
Uh-huh.
to project confidence and competence from the moment you walk into the room.
So like standing tall, making eye contact, offering a firm handshake, those kinds of things.
Exactly.
Okay.
These nonverbal cues can signal to the interviewer that you're confident, engaged, and ready to take on the challenge.
Okay.
On the flip side, imagine you're the interviewer. Being aware of these subtle signals can help you assess candidates more effectively,
Okay.
going beyond just their words and resumes.
That's really valuable insight. It's about being mindful
Right.
of both the signals we're sending and the ones we're receiving.
Absolutely.
Now, let's dive into some specific business scenarios.
Okay.
What about negotiations?
Yeah.
How can understanding body language give us an edge in those high-stakes situations?
Negotiations are all about reading between the lines.
Right.
And body language provides a wealth of information that can help us understand the other party's true intentions and positions.
So it's about picking up on those subtle cues that might reveal
Right.
whether they're truly confident in their position or if they're willing to concede.
Exactly. Pay close attention to shifts in their baseline behavior.
Okay.
Do they become more fidgety or avoid eye contact when discussing certain points?
Oh, interesting.
These could be signs of discomfort or disagreement.
I see. So it's about looking for those subtle tells that might reveal their true feelings.
Right. And remember, mirroring can be a powerful tool in negotiations as well.
Mirroring. You mean subtly mimicking their body language?
Yes. Subtly reflecting their posture gestures or even tone of voice can create a sense of rapport and increase liking,
Right.
which can be incredibly valuable in building trust and fostering a more collaborative atmosphere.
Okay, so it's about finding that balance between observing their cues
Right.
and subtly using mirroring techniques to build that connection.
Exactly.
Now, what about sales? That's another area
Yes.
where building rapport is crucial.
Absolutely. In sales, it's all about understanding your customer's needs and building trust.
Okay.
Body language can be a powerful tool in achieving both.
So how can salespeople use body language to their advantage?
Well, start by actively listening and observing.
Well,
Are they leaning in, making eye contact, nodding their heads?
right.
These are positive signs that they're engaged and receptive to your message.
So basically reading the room and adjusting your approach accordingly.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of enthusiasm. Your passion for your product or service can be contagious. Use open gestures, maintain good eye contact, and let your excitement shine through.
I can see how that genuine passion will be more compelling than any scripted sales pitch.
Right. It's about connecting with the customer on a human level, showing them that you genuinely believe in what you're selling.
Right.
And speaking of connecting, strategic use of touch can also be effective in sales.
Touch, isn't that a bit risky?
It can be. So it's essential to use good judgment and be mindful of cultural norms and personal boundaries.
Right.
But a light touch on the arm while emphasizing a key point can create a sense of connection and subtly reinforce your message.
Interesting. So it's about those subtle touches that enhance the connection.
Exactly.
Without being intrusive. Now let's shift gears and talk about public speaking, which can be daunting for many people.
For sure.
How can understanding body language help us become more effective speakers?
Public speaking is a performance.
Okay.
And like any performance, body language plays a crucial role in engaging your audience and conveying your message effectively.
So it's not just about what we say, but how we say it and the nonverbal cues that accompany those words.
Precisely. First and foremost, project confidence. Stand tall shoulders back. Make eye contact with your audience. Remember, your body language can influence your internal state.
Oh, wow.
By projecting confidence, you might actually start to feel more confident as well.
It's like that saying, fake it till you make it.
Right.
But in this case, it's about using your body language to boost your confidence.
Exactly.
And connect with the audience.
And don't be afraid to use your hands.
Okay.
Gestures can help emphasize your points and keep your audience engaged.
Right.
But make sure your movements are purposeful and controlled. Pacing or fidgeting can be distracting.
Okay, so it's about finding that balance between being expressive and maintaining a sense of composure.
Exactly. And don't forget about facial expressions. They can add depth and emotion to your speech. Smiling, frowning, raising your eyebrows. All these cues help connect with your audience on a more human level.
So it's about bringing your words to life. Through those nonverbal expressions.
Exactly. Public speaking is not just about conveying information. It's about sharing your passion and inspiring your listeners.
Okay.
And body language plays a crucial role in achieving that.
This is all fantastic advice.
Yeah.
Now, what about meetings?
Yeah.
They can be such a staple of corporate life. But sometimes they can feel a bit unproductive or even dull.
Right.
How can understanding body language help us navigate those sometimes tricky group dynamics?
Meetings are fascinating from a body language perspective. You can often see the power dynamics, the alliances, the unspoken disagreements all playing out non-verbally.
So like who sits where, who makes eye contact with whom, those kinds of things.
Precisely. And there are even more subtle cues at play.
Wow.
For instance, someone who is leaning back in their chair with their arms crossed might be signaling disengagement or disagreement, even if they're not verbally expressing those sentiments.
So being attuned to these cues can help us understand the underlying dynamics and potentially address any unspoken issues.
Exactly. And it's not just about reading others' body language. It's about being mindful of our own as well. Are we projecting confidence and engagement? Are we making eye contact and using open gestures to encourage participation? Our own nonverbal cues can have a significant impact on the overall tone and productivity of the meeting.
That's such a good point. It's about taking ownership of our nonverbal communication. And using it strategically to create a more positive and productive meeting environment.
Absolutely. And there's another intriguing idea I wanted to share. Using color coding to set expectations for meeting behavior.
Color coding? What do you mean?
It's a simple but effective system where different colors represent different types of meetings or desired levels of participation. For example, a green meeting might signal a brainstorming session. where open discussion and creative ideas are encouraged.
Right.
A red meeting, on the other hand,
Yeah.
might indicate a more formal decision-making session.
Okay, so it's like setting the stage for the meeting with those visual cues.
Right.
Creating a shared understanding of the purpose and expected behavior.
Exactly. It can be a really helpful way to manage expectations.
Yeah.
And ensure everyone's on the same page from the start.
This is all so fascinating. I feel like I'm starting to see the world in a whole new light.
Me too.
Now I'm wondering about the flip side of all this.
Okay.
Can body language be used in negative or manipulative ways?
That's an important question. And something to be mindful of.
Really?
Body language can be used to assert dominance, intimidate, or even manipulate others.
Okay.
Think about those classic bullying tactics,
Right.
like staring aggressive posture or invading personal space.
It's unsettling to think about, but unfortunately it's a reality.
It is.
So how can we protect ourselves from these negative uses of body language?
Awareness is key.
Okay.
By understanding the potential for manipulation,
Right.
we can be more attuned to those subtle signals and take steps to protect ourselves.
Okay.
For instance, if someone is using aggressive body language to try to intimidate you,
Right.
maintaining a calm and assertive posture can help diffuse the situation.
So knowledge is power, as they say.
It is.
And it's not just about being aware of others' body language,
right.
but also about being mindful of our own, ensuring we're not unintentionally sending the wrong signals.
Exactly. It's about using this understanding of body language ethically and responsibly, both for our own benefit and for fostering more positive and productive interactions in the workplace.
This has been an absolutely incredible deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I've gained so many valuable insights.
And hopefully our listeners have too.
Body language is such a powerful tool.
It is.
And by understanding its nuances, we can enhance our communication skills, build stronger relationships, and navigate the complexities of the business world with greater confidence.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more. And for our listeners who are eager to learn more,
yes,
remember that link in the description for the book, Body Language in Business, Decoding the Signals.
Okay.
We'll be right back after a quick break to discuss the impact of body language on memory and the challenges of interpreting nonverbal cues in the digital age.
All right, sounds good.
Welcome back to the Executive Read.
Oh.
We've been exploring the fascinating world of body language.
Yeah.
You know, from those crucial first impressions to its influence in negotiation, sales, and even public speaking.
Absolutely.
It's been a really insightful discussion.
Yeah, it has.
And as we go deeper, we uncover even more intriguing aspects of nonverbal communication, like its impact on memory.
Right.
And the unique challenges of interpreting body language in the digital age.
For sure.
So let's talk about memory.
Okay.
I heard that body language can actually influence eyewitness testimony. Is that true?
It is.
Really?
Eyewitness accounts, while often relied upon, can be surprisingly unreliable.
Okay.
Research has shown that body language plays a significant role in shaping these memories, sometimes leading to inaccuracies.
So, for example, if a witness observes someone with an aggressive posture or a menacing facial expression, they might be more likely to identify that person as the perpetrator, even if they're innocent.
That's right. Nonverbal cues can trigger strong emotional responses.
Oh, wow.
And unconscious biases.
Okay.
These biases can color our perceptions and influence how we encode and recall events.
Right.
Potentially leading to distorted memories.
That's a bit unsettling to think about.
Yeah.
So what about the way witnesses are questioned?
Yeah.
Can that also impact their memory and recall?
Absolutely. The way questions are phrased, the tone of voice used, and even the body language of the interviewer can all influence a witness's recollection.
Oh, really?
Leading questions, for example, can inadvertently introduce information or suggestions that might alter a witness's memory.
So it's not just about what's being said, but also how it's being said. And the subtle nonverbal cues that accompany those words.
Precisely. It highlights the importance of careful and impartial questioning techniques.
Okay.
Especially in legal settings.
Right.
To ensure the accuracy and reliability of eyewitness accounts.
That makes a lot of sense. Now let's shift gears and talk about the digital age.
Yeah.
In a world dominated by emails, texts, and video calls, how do we navigate the realm of body language when we're not face-to-face?
It's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
And a relatively new frontier
Okay.
in the study of nonverbal communication.
Right.
It's true that digital communication removes
Yeah.
some of the richness of face-to-face interactions,
Yeah.
but we've also developed creative ways to compensate for that loss.
Okay. Like using emojis to convey emotions in text messages.
Exactly. Emojis, emoticons, and even carefully chosen words
Right.
have become our tools for injecting emotion and nuance into our digital communications.
So we've found ways to adapt.
Right.
But are there any potential downsides to this shift towards digital communication, especially when it comes to understanding those nonverbal cues?
There are some challenges to consider without those visual cues.
Yeah.
It can be harder to build rapport, establish trust, and accurately gauge the other person's emotions.
Okay.
Misunderstandings can occur more easily.
Right.
Simply because we're missing those subtle nonverbal signals that help us interpret the message.
So it becomes even more important to be mindful of our word choices.
Right.
And to use those digital tools effectively to convey the intended tone and emotion.
Exactly. And on the flip side, digital communication can offer some unexpected benefits.
Benefits, really?
Think about it. In the digital world, we're less influenced by superficial factors.
Okay.
Like physical appearance.
Right.
Our focus shifts to the content of the message itself. Free from biases based on how someone looks or dresses.
So, in a way, it levels the playing field.
Exactly.
Allowing us to connect and collaborate based on ideas and substance.
Right.
Rather than appearances.
It allows for a more meritocratic exchange of information.
Okay.
Where the quality of the message takes center stage.
That's a really interesting perspective. Right. So it's not all doom and gloom for body language in the digital age.
No, not yet.
It's simply evolving, just like communication itself.
Precisely. And as we become more aware of the nuances of both face-to-face and digital communication, we can harness the power of body language to connect, collaborate, and succeed in this ever-changing world.
This has been an absolutely eye-opening journey into the world of body language.
It has.
I feel like I've gained so much valuable knowledge.
Me too.
And hopefully our listeners have too.
I hope so.
So let's wrap up with 3 key takeaways for our audience.
Okay.
First, become aware.
Right.
Start paying conscious attention to the non-verbal cues you're both sending and receiving. You know, it's about tuning in to that subtle language that's always present.
Absolutely.
Second, context is key.
Right.
Always interpret body language within the specific situation.
Yeah.
And consider cultural norms. A gesture that might be considered friendly in one culture could be perceived as offensive in another.
Absolutely.
And finally, practice and refine.
Okay.
Body language is a skill. And like any skill, it takes practice. Experiment with your own nonverbal communication.
Right.
Try out different techniques. And see what works best for you in different situations.
It's an ongoing process of learning and refinement.
And as you become more attuned to the power of body language, you'll find yourself navigating the complexities of human interaction with greater confidence and skill.
Absolutely.
And for those who are eager to delve deeper into this fascinating subject, don't forget to check out Body Language in Business, Decoding the Signals, through the link in the description. It's an invaluable resource for anyone who wants to master the art of nonverbal communication.
For sure.
Make sure to subscribe to the India HR Dialogue podcast for more insightful deep dives into the world of business. And thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.